Reggie Draper, and welcome to the first episode of Autorave TV. Now, to me, there is no better way to start a car series than with the road and track test, so that's what I decided to do. But this is not any road and track test. This is an owner review, my personal 997 Porsche 911 GT3. Now, if you haven't noticed, Porsche has the industry going crazy right now, and it's built in almost Apple-like cult following for the brand. The thing is, a lot of people know about the 911s and some of the heritage Porsches, but many people don't understand the special edition Porsches. The ones that have enthusiasts crawling over each other for, and the ones that have really made Porsche the brand that it is today. But I think that's about to change.
All right, don't get me wrong, I love technology, but I'm also a Louisiana boy, so I love me some flavor. Now, in this ever-changing world of all-wheel drive, turbos, and dual clutch transmissions, to me, there's nothing like the taste of a rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated car with a real manual transmission and a foot pedal clutch. Now, I thought Porsche clicked every single box just about right with the limited run of track-ready road cars. A car that I've always thought is one of the greatest modern examples of the soul of performance automobiles. The 997 Porsche 911 GT3. But was I right?
So we're driving along east of Houston, Texas, not far from Royal Purple Raceway, just having a relaxed cruise. You don't get that much around here, so I'm enjoying this. Anyway, what is a 911 GT3? The Porsche 911 GT3 is the track-focused version of the 911 lineup. It's not a race car like people want to make it. It's just focused for the track. It's track-tuned, with the GT3 RS being even more focused while still being road legal. Now, this is a 997 Mark I GT3. It's a 2008. That was a Mark II as well. The GT3 name in general was even in existence with Porsche until 1999 with the 996 GT3. But you can really track back the track-focused, road-legal 911s to the 1973 2.7 RS, which is just worth a stupid amount of money. And I want one, and I'm pissed because I can't afford it yet. And anyway, I'm going to get one. We'll talk about that one day. Major difference between the base 911 and the GT3. The weight savings plan has to be the biggest thing, along with some other items like the engine. But on the weight savings plan, you have Porsche ripping the back seats out, changing out various components like this piece of shit stereo they put in here with these lightweight speakers. Obviously, tuning the suspension for track usage, and again, throwing in the engine, and not just any engine, the now classic Mesger engine, which they no longer produce for road legal automobiles. This one has the 3.6 liter, 8,400 RPM, 415 horsepower Mesger flat six, and it's ridiculous. I've driven some other cars, various automobiles, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and this is still one of the best engines that I've ever come across. The new GT3, the 991 GT3, is a bit different. It doesn't have the Mesger, and it doesn't have a manual transmission. It has a DFI engine and a dual clutch transmission. So these cars are kind of classic right now. So it makes me happy because I have it.
Well, I kind of want to sneak it into my purse, but it's kind of gross.
The magic in the 997 GT3 is its ability to connect the driver and the machine. I mean, there really are not too many modern vehicles that can make you feel like this car does. I mean, you have the hydraulic steering that translates everything from the road to your hand, sometimes too much, seems like it at least. The click-click happy manual transmission gives you positive engagement, loud, naturally aspirated engine, and a suspension that talks more than my 6-year-old nephew. I mean, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, depends on what you're doing. But all of that comes into play for just a crazy experience that you just don't get in newer cars. And I've driven a 991S, not a 991 GT3, but this car really does feel like it's 15-year-old technology compared to that. It's amazing how big of a difference they are. 991 being a bit more refined and user-friendly, with this being much more archaic per se. All right, so for some more honesty, how does a road legal car act on the road, right? Honestly, it takes a special soul to drive this car, and it's aggressive. It's not comfortable. Anybody who tells you this car is comfortable is lying to you, or they're comparing it to a tractor. It's just not. It has a heavy clutch, sensitive throttle, so it's not fun to drive in heavy traffic. I really don't drive in heavy traffic. I'll leave it in the garage before I do that. It has some issues, but it's still usable. I've driven it 5-hour trips. It has cargo space, a little front trunk area. Front has space for 3 decent sized bags. I mean, it bakes stuff, but you can put bags in it. But you have this little area back here that when they took the seats out, they made a backseat trunk area. At least that's what I call it. And it becomes usage. And you can put random crap. I use it for random crap and stuff I want to throw behind me, and things that I don't want to put in the microwave up front because that just bakes everything or melts it, whichever it prefers. So if I have ice cream, I put ice cream in here, and rotisserie chicken or like a pizza to keep warm in there, and it balances out. So its issues become an advantage to some extent. But yes, usable car, not perfect, but usable. So the various components and older technology in this car can dramatically change the user experience depending on the person. And it's these issues that the car has that builds the character. I mean, it just screams its imperfections at full bravado. For instance, sometimes when I start the car up, I'll get a white plume of smoke to come out the back. Or if I wash it, I may get a scream from the chain tensioner. Just weird stuff like that happens, noises and clinks that you wouldn't think are normal, but are. And onlookers are probably saying, bro, like, go fix your car, there's something wrong with it. But it's not, it's normal. And people who own these cars have the same complaints. Then you have stuff like this damn stereo. If it's not obvious yet, it's useless. It doesn't play music. I don't know, it's the worst stereo I've ever heard in my life. I thought it was broken when I got the car. That's how bad it is. I asked the owner, like, did you do something to the radio? It's that bad. Then the front splitter, it's functional. It's the front splitter up front, but you got to watch it, inclines and declines, because it may just rip off and kill your swag. It's just things like that the car has. There's some issues, but the cool thing about it is that its imperfections make the car, and that's what makes it so special. It's like Porsche's engineer said, I'm going to do this and you're going to like it. And as an engineer myself, I like it when the engineers get a chance to kind of mess with the marketing team and say, this is what I want. It's not all about a sales pitch. The customer may have some issues, but you know what? This is what's going to happen. So Porsche, good job. I'm not complaining much. Here at MSR Houston Raceway, Angleton, Texas, directly south of Houston, Texas. We're going to get a few laps in the GT3 so I can try to explain how it translates from the road to the track. Like I said before, not the greatest public road car in my opinion. I mean, the damping is poor for rough roads. The ride height is atrocious for anything higher than a rock. Clutch is heavy. I'm not going to talk about this radio again. But hey, the AC, I forgot, the AC works well in this thing. Like, it works surprisingly well. And I'm that guy to use the AC at the track. It's 95 degrees out here. I'm not about to die of a heat stroke in Houston, Texas. So we're gonna hit the track with the AC on, and I hope everything goes right. And if it doesn't, I blame tire pressures and global warming and Obama. So there we have it. Let's do it. Okay, run the track. So as far as the settings, we have the sport mode and, well, sport. That pretty much adjusts the exhaust noise for more noise. It gives you a bit more torque in the mid-range. We have the dampers in the most aggressive setting. Only 2 settings, a normal and what I call a track setting. And the track is pretty smooth, so of course we wanted the most aggressive setting. And then we have traction control in off, because I only drive flat out. That's how I drive. It's flat out. Not really. It's because I'm an idiot, but anyway. I mean, you can hear that. It's not that difficult to understand why people go crazy over this engine. It's that special down to second. Although this engine is not a 500 or 600 horsepower monster, it's so smooth and so aggressively tuned that you never feel there's any lack power. The 3.8 997 Mark II has a bit more torque, but I'm not even sure you need that, man. This is just about right for anybody who has any sense. Okay, so the handling. Some people have accused the 997 GT3 of having too much understeer. Well, first of all, it's 911. So it inherently has limited weight over the front tires and limited traction. So, I mean, I understand that, but I don't mind it. I'm not a pro driver. I mean, in my mind, I'm something like a pro driver. I mean, I'm something like special, but in real life, I'm not getting paid to be a pro driver. So I use the understeer to save my ass. I don't mind it. And you can also use trail braking to eliminate some of that understeer. Smash the brakes, turn in, ease off the brakes, and use that 911 rear traction to just power out the corner. It's okay. Understeer is not evil all the time. I learned that from Mike Mills. He taught me some stuff, so I figured I would say that. All right, so since we're talking about the handling, let's talk about the dynamics of a 911 and specifically this car, the 997 GT3. What I love about it is that it tells you when you're about to screw up before you even get there. It tells you what it doesn't like very clearly. Going to a corner too fast or lift off mid-corner and the car says, bruh, no, bruh, no, stop. And it's very clear. The tail gets all unhappy and it jumps out at you and you know immediately, I messed up. I should not have done that. At the same time, you get it right. Come out the corner and use that 911 traction, power out, and the whole car smiles. It speaks, it squats and it springs into action, and it comes out like everything in the world is just PGK. That's what I love about this car. You never question what it wants or what it's doing. I will say that one thing about it that I question is the stability under hard braking, but I'm not sure if that's the car or some settings I have to make or the tires. I don't know yet, but I'm having some instability under heavy braking. You forget how hard it is to build a car that works on the road at least somewhat decently. At the same time, it's on the track and wows you. And that's one of the best things about the GT3s of any one of them. 996, 997, 991. They can do anything pretty well, but extremely well on the track. Come in, Mike said, put it up. Oversteer right here. That was oversteer. Come out with the understeer. He told me to use the understeer, so I'm using the understeer. Full throttle out of here. You don't stop. 8,400 RPM. You don't stop. Then we're gonna go sideways just a little bit. Not the cleanest, but we got it. We got it. I got you, boy.
So in about a year and a half of ownership, I've logged about 10,000 miles with no major issues other than killing a bunch of tires, and what I think is one of the best driver's cars to ever be produced. I used to wonder if it were possible to not get used to a car if driven enough, but this one proved it. It brings an almost everlasting sense of euphoria, and really it just makes people happy. This dude came up to me while I was filming, and although I have no idea what he's talking about, he was so happy to see the car, I just told him to jump on the scene. Happiness aside, the biggest question with the GT3 is, can you live with it every day? And yeah, you pick the right tires to reduce road noise, give it some audio for those long drives, and it's doable. Would I want to? Hell no. I enjoy using it as a drug to get my fix for the day until it's time for the track. And because that's where it's bred, and that's where it belongs.